All right, cool. We are back with another episode of the Lead Up Leadership Podcast. I have a special guest with me, Mrs. Brittany Mitchell.
Yes.
Can you introduce yourself, who you are, a little bit about your background?
Sure. So I was born and raised in San Diego, California. I always start there because I think it's the best city, and yes, the best city in America. And born and raised there. Spent some time. Basically, growing up, I was an athlete, and it's kind of weird when I talk about my upbringing. It's all I can think about, really. Sports.
Yeah.
Basketball. Since I was 5, I played year round competitively, and
Since 5?
Wow. Yeah, and so that was all I ever did, really. Besides going to school and school and basketball was my thing.
Yeah.
So that was kind of my background there. I have a twin brother. That was definitely a big part of my background. Just growing up with him.
Yeah.
I have a
Who's
sister.
the older one?
My brother's older.
By how much?
By a minute.
I'm the younger one by 2.
You're a twin?
Fraternal, yeah.
Okay, how did you not tell me this?
Yeah, I mean,
That's crazy.
Yeah.
By 2? Okay.
2 minutes, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where is he at?
He's in the Army now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dope.
Yep.
Okay. Awesome. Cool. So I have a sister as well, and then my parents are still married.
That's awesome.
Yep. I'm black and white, for anybody who's
Yeah.
curious. And so that was that, and then I went to college in LA, Whittier College. Went to grad school at Fullerton, Cal State Fullerton.
Nice.
And I'm still in school currently.
Oh, dope.
Business that I run, and we'll probably get into that, but it's basically sport and performance psychology. I work with clients, mainly athletes, but other professionals as well, on just human performance and how to optimize that.
Yeah. Before we jump into kind of all that, your business and how you even got into that field, I want to go back to the sports thing because, for me, my background sports was just kind of like an extracurricular. It was never like year round or like the travel teams or like, it's really just for fun and doing something, being in a team sport with other people. So what was that experience like? And first, like, was that something that you wanted, or was that something that your parents kind of like felt that was the best thing? And
Yeah. So 100% it was my choice. I mean, my dad threw me and my brother into basketball when we were 5, but we genuinely enjoyed it.
Yeah.
So we both were involved in that. But I mean, it was. Looking back, right, and now being a professional in this field and working with youth athletes who compete at an elite level, it definitely can be over the top, for sure, and intense, and burnout levels are high, and that actually is what occurred. What happened to me towards the end of my career, I burnt out, and so I retired.
Yeah,
but
hung up the jersey.
But I mean, overall, there's pros and cons to it. It was a great experience. I learned a lot, right? Through that, I also, found Christ through a teammate, right? So there, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was a great experience. I was able to really build my own identity to a certain degree too.
Yeah.
Growing up, I was a really reserved and shy kid, and so basketball gave me a the confidence, right, and a strong sense of worth. That got a little twisted towards the end, but God stepped in and set that straight for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it was a good experience for me, for sure. It's what I do partly now still.
Yeah. What was the highest level that you got to within basketball?
Yeah, so I did, so right before I retired, it was right before college, and so I had an opportunity to play at the college level, kind of at the D2 level, D3, but decided not to.
Yeah.
Because it was just it was the lowest moment I've ever been in my career. The pressure was really high.
Yeah.
Right, because when you start at 5, right, and you're competing and practicing and training, like that's all that matters to you is that moment.
Yeah.
Right, and so I think a lot of athletes, because it's such a long period of working towards that, when you finally get there, it's like you start panicking.
Yeah.
Right, and if you don't have the right support and the resources available to you to manage that, the stress levels and all that kind of stuff, then I think you easily can crumble underneath that pressure, and so that's what happened to me, and I learned a lot from it.
Yeah.
But still played intramurals in college.
Right, for sure.
For fun.
I mean, it's crazy because like even in the last, I mean, you probably already know this, in the last couple of years, not only has the competition and like like AAU and just like people like really, traveling all the time, but also now this other side of like, there's a focus of depression, anxiety, and mental health, right? So I was listening to one yesterday with Kevin Love.
Okay.
When he was, when he opened up about the letter and he had the panic attack, and
Mm-hmm.
and that kind of opened up like a bigger kind of like this is happening to a lot of people.
Yes.
Right. And so what I'm getting at is that how does it that you got into the sports psychology realm? What have you been learning, and why is it so important nowadays when it comes to mental health and leading to your business?
Yeah, I mean, like I mentioned before, me personally, I went through the low moments, right, of not having the support. A lot of athletes have a lot of support physically, right? They have strength and conditioning coaches, they have athletic trainers, they have even, nutrition, right? Dietitians. Wow. And, the coaching staff is stacked, right? With how can we maximize this individual's physical skill set, which is great, right? But a lot of times they don't have the mental performance piece. They don't have, whether it be someone from the clinical background, right, a sports psychologist, right, who specializes in the athlete population, or like myself, who's a consultant, still trained and educated, but more so just mental performance. And so they lack that. They don't have that. And so
can you explain real quick, what is mental performance? How do you define that?
Right, so sports psychology is all about kind of the psychological factors that go into performance, right? And so what I do as a consultant is I teach clients and athletes mental skills, we call them. Mental skills to be able to overcome certain barriers or hurdles they might have. So, for example, right, if I have a client who's struggling with confidence, focus, managing emotions, just anxiety before games, right? Pre-game jitters, maybe team dynamics that are getting kind of uncomfortable for them, right? I'll step in and I'll assess what their needs are, their goals are, and I'll share. So, for example, mindfulness, if you're familiar. Okay, right. So meditation. So I'll teach them that skill, right? So we'll incorporate that into their pre-game routine. Visualization is a huge, powerful tool that can be used. Mental rehearsal. Self-talk, right? We're talking about that in the church now these days, right? How powerful that can be.
For sure.
So teaching them how to rewire their thinking and their thought patterns is basically what I do.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it makes perfect sense. I mean, I saw when I was in the Bay Area for the holidays, I saw this big billboard of LeBron James for the Calm app. I'm pretty sure you are. It's a mindfulness app, right? And I'm like, wow, like this thing is getting more attention. More people are kind of like, when it comes to like, load management, that's a whole different discussion, right? But there's more talks about it, right? Even like from football to other sports about like this pressure and this anxiety that players, right, professional athletes, they're getting paid millions of dollars to perform at a high level, but on, behind closed doors, they're like really going through it.
Right. And what I want to mention too is that with sports psychology, I think there's two sides of it.
Okay.
Right. So there's a side of it where we want to step in and try to fix certain problems or issues that an athlete might have, whether it be anxiety, depression that we're talking about. But on the flip side too, which doesn't get enough attention, is more a proactive approach where there might not necessarily be any major issues at play, right? But we're looking at how can we maximize what you already have, right? And so I think we think about players like LeBron James, right? Obviously, I'm sure he's not perfect, right? He goes through his own struggles.
Right.
But
some people think otherwise.
Sure, whatever, right? Whatever the opinions are. But even, Kobe Bryant or Michael Jordan, right? These are athletes who are at the top of their game, but yet still seek out services like this.
Yeah.
Because it's like professional and elite individuals and athletes, like they just they want the edge, right? They want the mental edge, the competitive edge, and they're willing to do whatever it takes to get that. And that's what also sports psychology can provide.
Yeah.
But along with that, talking about mental health and such, it also can become, because what we're doing, we're trying to build resilience.
Yeah.
Right? So if and when an athlete goes through, an NBA season and they're or even NCAA or even youth athletes, they go through challenges that are very common. As they learn these skills, they're building resilience. So when they face that hurdle, when they face that challenge, they're less likely to break down. Does that make sense? And so this work is also done with with the Army and with the military, with soldiers as well. And so it's the same idea, right? Can we lower the chances of these soldiers coming back home with, PTSD, depression, different things like that, if we can build their resilience, give them the tools so that they can better cope.
Yeah.
I guess that's what I'm trying to say. So they can better cope.
Gotcha. Talk to me more about what led you to start your own business, being a consultant, and talk about the things that you're providing for your clients and kind of the ultimate vision that you're trying to see for this.
So 2016 I started, and it was actually Heart and Soul Athletics, because at that point I was coaching a basketball team, and I wanted to start some skills training. Just want to be a skills trainer.
Yeah.
Like everybody else. And so, that was, I was in grad school too, so I was just kind of testing it out. But it was an idea that God put on my heart to just run with. Mm-hmm. And so I ran with it, and as I finished my grad program in sports psychology, I transferred it over to just mental training.
Yeah.
And so that's what I've been doing since. So that was the original vision. As far as moving forward, what I want to do, so like I mentioned earlier, I'm still in school, and I'm getting another master's in marriage and family therapy.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and so the idea is I'm going to merge that over, right, with what I'm already doing on the performance side, so I'm better equipped to handle, as we're talking about, clinical issues that come about, because they come about a lot more often than people realize.
Yeah.
And so with that training, I'll be able to have, my private practice. I would like to have actually my own facility.
Nice.
And basically provide... be a space for teams and athletes to come and train, right? So the physical side, I'll have trainers in there, and basically I'll sports medicine staff, and then provide mental training services under myself, but then also provide counseling services for athletes, but also anybody, right? Couples, families, kids. So that's the ultimate vision with that.
That's awesome. Whether it's your clients or just things that you're seeing through observations, what are some of the common issues that keep coming up, whether it's from athletes or different clients that you've seen?
Yeah. I would say probably the two main ones is confidence, just lack of it, okay? With youth, it's issues with parents being over the top.
I see.
Pressure, okay? And then it's anxiety that can't be managed. And so, with confidence, a lot of it is identity.
Okay.
And athletes putting their identity in what they can do, in wins and losses, in good performances, bad performances, good plays, bad plays, mistakes, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so when they rest in just that, it's always going to be a roller coaster.
Yeah.
It's always going to be a roller coaster.
Yeah.
And so trying to help them find, to be able to focus more on things that they can control, that's not so unstable.
Right.
Right? With anxiety, it's like fear of failure and things like that. With parents, it's parents not really understanding how to communicate with their child, and expectations that they're putting on their kid. A lot of times the kid doesn't know how to have that conversation with the parent. Like, hey, like, when we're on our way to a game, I don't need you down my back, like telling me, I need to be doing this, doing that. Like, I'm already having my own talk with myself, right? Or post game, especially like the car ride home, may or may not be the time for you to do a full on review on how your kid did, right? Because again, they're going through their own process. And so those are main things, and I see it at the youth level, but also at the college level, for sure.
Yeah. What do you believe is like the future of this field or this industry? Because again, like I said, more and more, whether it's through different mindfulness apps or just like, I just see a lot more, right? Just more talk and discussion around mindfulness. I see even going back into the schools, right? Different programs where people instead of setting students to detention, they're making them, do some yoga or 30 minutes of that. So, cool. Which is cool to see. But I'm just curious, how big will this get, or where do you see it going in the next few years?
I mean, I believe and I hope that we'll see more and more of it, because we're seeing it, like, for example, the NBA, right? Putting a new rule that each team has to have like a mental health clinician on staff.
That okay? Wow.
Or on retainer, right? So we're moving in that direction. That at the NCAA level, there's been like sports psychologists and consultants on staff, but I think that's growing as well. I would say at the youth level that's what I'm passionate about for myself, especially in the city of Sacramento, for me to make a mark in the youth sport. Because I think you see a trickle-up effect, right? How we're training kids in the youth level is what we're seeing issues as they get older. Because they were never taught how to manage emotions or how to manage their anxiety.
Right.
And so I think that's where the field's going. Also, like I said, like what you're saying with apps and things like that, ways to make this stuff more accessible is what I'm passionate about doing, and what we're seeing happen of just normalizing this stuff. This does not mean that you're crazy or whatever people might think out there. This is us being smart and making sure we're better equipped to handle what we're doing out there.
Knowing what you know now, what advice would you give to your younger self, that 5-year-old, or, as you kind of matured along the way, what advice would you give knowing what you know now?
I would say, going back to the identity piece.
Yeah.
Because that's what burnt me out, is the identity piece. Like I said earlier, I think basketball really launched my confidence and self-esteem.
Mm-hmm.
But I think for me personally, and for those out there as well, sometimes we can we can cling to it too much.
Yeah.
Where we do have a performance-based self-esteem, and that bleeds into other areas. Right, as an athlete, it's there. But then all of a sudden it shows up in the classroom and with grades. It shows up in our relationships, right? Where all of a sudden who we are is just based on how well we can perform or what we can produce. And so that was my issue back then. And so I would say to my younger self that don't put your identity in what you can do, right? Put your identity in God and who He says you are.
Yeah.
And then if I can put another one in there.
Yeah, please.
I would say that, that God always writes a better story than we can.
Yeah.
Right, so when we encounter, forks in the road or hard decisions or things that we, regret or whatever it might be, that God works it all together for our good, right? For those who love Him and are called according to His purpose or His plan, and so that's something that I learned and I wish I knew when I was younger.
Yeah, circling back to the growth of this industry, but have you faced any pushback or just like people like, why are you talking about this? Like, focus on just like the skills or just like, why is this even necessary? Have you faced any of that or kind of?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and I think that is the biggest barrier with this stuff, and I appreciate you understanding this because, like I said, people think it's like, I don't need that, right? Whether that be an individual client, I don't need that. I'm not. Because they think it's like a weak-minded type of thing, right? If I have to meet with Brittany or anybody in this field, that means that I'm weak-minded.
Yeah.
But I like to say that it just means you're elite-minded, right? So being an elite athlete doesn't mean that you're that you don't have flaws or weaknesses. It just means that you're willing to confront those and do something about it to maximize what you have and to get an edge over your competition. And so, for sure. And then, just the whole mental health thing. I think it's a stigma.
Yeah.
With mental health, and then it bleeds into performance psychology as well.
Yeah.
But it's all false. There's a lot of myths about it.
Yeah. Do you see that equally for like both like men and women? I say the men because I am a man, and we've been known to have a lot of pride, right? So I don't know if you've experienced where it's like equally the same, or more so guys are just like, nah, that's not for me.
I would say more so the guys.
Okay.
For sure.
Yeah.
It is more so the guys of just like, nah, I don't need that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think with the females, it's more of a shy thing, I think, or more of a hesitation of like, there's a curiosity about it, but there's kind of they still hesitate to kind of dive into it. But I would say, with guys, it is more of like I almost have to convince them that this is something that you would benefit from.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
With this new year, right, 2020, do you have any goals or just kind of like what are you hoping to accomplish this year and the next few years as you continue to build your business, all the things, I know you're back in school, so that's probably a big chunk of what you got to get done, but are there things that you're trying to accomplish within this year, the next few years?
I would say in regards to my business, just continuing to elevate it each year, but obviously finishing this degree is going to help me a lot personally, but also with the business. I mean, there's just a number of projects that I have on my mind this year for the business. Looking to write a book with one of my colleagues. I'm also a workbook.
That's awesome.
Kind of, again, making this stuff more accessible. With the Mental Minute EP that I have, going to be hopefully working either getting into the brainstorming piece or actually starting it, but a volume 2 of that. Just trying to get content out, I guess, would probably be the goal for sure.
Gotcha. As we kind of wrap up, since you have so much on your plate and you give a lot, like how do you balance all that? Like how can you as you're consulting yourself, right? Like how do you do all that? Like you're going to school, you have your own business, you work still too, right? At schools, right? So how do you manage all that? And married, right? All that stuff. So
I think that's the biggest question you could probably ask me. And I feel like thinking about 2020 new year, right? Last year my word for the year was rest. Because that was it right there. The balance piece.
Yeah.
And hell, I mean, we could talk about whether balance is even a thing, right? But last year it was just really rough for me to be able to juggle all these different things and staying in community, staying connected to God, and just being my best self. And I was struggling with that. And towards the end of 2019, I really started to feel that sense of real rest. And it was because I was more intentional about making, slowing down.
Yeah.
Okay, slowing down and doing away with the hurry and the hustle mindset.
Yeah.
And it's been rough for me because as a businesswoman, and you're doing your thing, you feel like you have to hustle.
Right.
If you don't, I mean, what are you doing?
Right.
Right. You're behind. Right. Right. And you're not maximizing. Again, my own feeling. Right. You're not maximizing your potential. It's like at the end of the day, though, if you're killing yourself in the process, you're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
And that's what I was doing to myself. And so, for me, what I've really been diving into lately is just really core principles and values of silence and solitude, connected to, whether it be meditation, reading the word, prayer, silence. Yeah. Okay? How often do we sit in silence during the day, during the week? Things like that, right? Simplicity of mind, right? And also in living. Yeah. Okay? Sabbath, or just generally just a day, right? Of just rest. During the week of resting. And then social media. Yeah. Big one for me.
Yeah, I saw that you had kind of paused on that for a while, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I took about 6 weeks to. It wasn't a complete turnoff, but it was just dialing back on the hours of usage, and just being intentional, not having accountability to that. And it honestly, it changed everything for me. Nice. It changed everything for me.
That's awesome.
Right? Of just like, what do we do with that empty time? Right? And the anxiety that's within that. So it's just a weird experience. For sure. I highly suggest everybody out there to try it. Yeah. Just to see how you respond to it, and it really dives deep into what you may need to be working on. Yeah. But anywho, so those are just a few things that I've been practicing and being more in my word, and just what you're consuming on a daily really affects your mindset for sure, and that sense of peace you're reaching for. Yeah.
If people want to kind of support you, follow your journey, kind of maybe listen to this EP and just follow the growth, where can they do that?
Okay, so Instagram at Heart and Soul Consulting. For sure, is my business Instagram. Also, at The Mental Minute on Instagram is where you'll find the Mental Minute, the EP information, and how to stream that. And you can contact me and chat if you're interested in more details on what I do.
That's awesome. Well, I appreciate you again making some time. I'm excited to see what happens this year and beyond with your business.
Yes, thank you so much.
No problem.
Appreciate it.